Alright, welcome to the second installment in our little adventure through my music collection. Something I probably should have mentioned in the first video. If you guys are at all interested in checking out some of these bands, I'll put some links to their music in the description box. And as well with the local bands, I'll put links to their music as well as videos that I do in another channel. We review their music. Locals only, interviews with local musicians, things like that. So, here we go.
The Asylum Archives.
Alright, so we're going to start this episode off with some classic metal. We have a compilation between two albums, Restless and Wild and Balls to the Wall by Accept. And this would be the kind of album I would suggest you listen to if you're just getting into metal, or if you already like bands like Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Blue Cheer. If you're not too deep into the genre, with genres like death metal, black metal, grindcore, you should definitely look into this album with songs like Fast as a Shark, Restless and Wild, Balls to the Wall, Head Over Heels. Just some top-notch classic heavy metal crap. This next band is a local band, actually, Aces Over Jacks. They're a bit of rockabilly, and they use this stand-up bass, and it is gorgeous. And if you ever get to see them live, they beat that thing up, and it sounds beautiful. The vocals are really charismatic, and I think it makes for some great hooks, some memorable riffs. And the writing itself, too, the compositions are there, the lyrics are fantastic, and I think it makes for a great listening experience. So if you guys ever get the chance to listen to them, check this release out. It'll, like I said, it'll be in the description. Check these guys out. Now, this next band, they're a bit of new metal, and I know a lot of metal elitists are, new metal's not real metal. If you listen to new metal, you're a poser. I like new metal. I don't care. I have a Slipknot poster right there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's on the wall. Acts of Aggression, though, I don't think pull off the new metal sound with these dense guitars, the mild drumming, and some really not that fantastic rap verses over all of this. I think the rap verses sound pretty amateurish. But I mean, if you're into bands like Biohazard, I could see you getting into them. They weren't for me. The next artist we have, he's more of a solo project. And he likes to vary it up, change it up a little bit. Sometimes he's a little more mainstream with his composition. Sometimes he's a little more outlaw. I'm talking about the country artist Adrian Taylor. And his first demo was mostly consisting of cover songs from other artists like Brentley Gilbert, Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan. There was, however, one original song on here titled Ignorant, but you could hear in his voice how nervous he was about it, how uncomfortable he was about it. But I feel like on his next album, the demoed version of his full length, you could hear how much more comfortable he is with everything and how much progress he's made. You should check this demo out if you get the chance. It's called The Long Road Back, and it has great songs on it like Georgia Peach, She Ain't Coming Back, Alone. If you're into just really catchy country music, you should check him out. The next band we have, they're a super extreme, unbelievably abrasive, talking about Searing Fires and Lucid Visions by Adustum. Now, these guys are so freaking brutal, but sometimes the vocals can get kind of cartoonish with how high-pitched they get and how lo-fi the production and the recording style is. But I mean, I don't think it takes away anything from the music itself, though, because songs like The Eulogy of 1 through 3 times 3 and Ravenous Copulation Upon Her Altar of Catamina are some really brutal songs. And if you're into like underground black metal, I would even go as far as to say if you're into bands like 1349, I could see you getting into Adustum. This next album is another bit of black metal. It's actually a split titled War Pit of Coiling Atrocities between Adversarial and Paroxihzem. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm probably butchering it. But as far as the music goes, I don't think there's anything stand out about it. It's kind of like stereotypical black metal. I feel like if you took any black metal band that didn't have their own sound and threw them onto this split, it would sound just as fine as this does. However, I do think Adversarial pulls together some more charismatic vocals. And as far as compositions go, I think their stuff is a little more engaging. Other than that, though, this album didn't stand out too much to me. But if you're into the underground stuff, I could see you getting into this. Especially if you're a black metal elitist. I definitely see you liking this split. This next band, everyone knows who they are. Everyone knows who Steven Tyler is. Talking about Aerosmith. Aerosmith was never a band I was 100% behind. This collection, in fact, was mostly it's a dollar kind of why not thing. Starting off with Rocks, has their song Back in the Saddle. Pretty catchy. But I was never into this super sugary glam rock kind of thing. If it's your style, I would understand why you enjoy Aerosmith, and if you haven't listened to them before, I don't know how that's possible, but I could see you getting into that song. Or with Pump, you get actually two pretty decent songs, actually. Love in an Elevator, pretty much their biggest song ever, and Janie's Got a Gun. But to be honest with you, other than those two songs, I don't remember much from this album. This was a kind of thing where I bought it, I listened to it, I put it in my collection, and I haven't come back to it. And to be honest, that's how most of Aerosmith is for me. I just didn't get that sense of a pull to come back to this band. The next album is a compilation, Aerosmith's Greatest Hits, and this is another one of those things where if you're looking to get into this style of music, I would recommend this album. It has their biggest songs on it, like Dream On, Walk This Way, Last Child. Pretty, top-notch rock and roll kind of stuff. Not my style, but I can see why it's popular. I see the appeal behind it. Now, this album, on the other hand, this is actually one of the only Aerosmith albums I've ever actually enjoyed, especially with the song Eat the Rich. I thought the lyrics were pretty tongue-in-cheek. They were pretty hilarious. I love the instrumentals on it. However, other than that, I don't think there was much on this. Maybe, yeah, no, I think it's just Eat the Rich was probably the most standout song on this album, leaving this to be probably my favorite Aerosmith album. Other than that, I mean, if you're already into this band and you haven't listened to this album, I would suggest you listen to this album. If you haven't gotten to this style of music and you're looking to listen to this album, or the next two albums I'm about to pull up, because I'm pretty sure they're both, I know one is, I'm pretty sure this is a compilation too as well, though. It's called Big Ones, with their big hits like Walk on Water, Love in an Elevator, Dude Looks Like a Lady, Janie's Got a Gun. Once again, if you're just looking to get into this stuff, this would be the album. Or I'm just going to gloss over this one. Devil's Got a New Disguise, another compilation with their big hits, Dream On, Walk This Way, Dude Looks Like a Lady. You get it. Now, this next band they kind of changed styles in the middle of their career. On one hand, with this EP being an example, A Fire Inside by AFI, they were much more punkier, they were a little more hardcore, I think they had a lot more energy behind their music as well. And I think they did a great cover between the Misfits with their song Demonomania and The Cure covering their song The Hanging Garden. And to be honest, I've always enjoyed this era of their career. I feel like the songs were much more fleshed out and they were a lot more energetic, and I've always enjoyed their punkier style. However, I wouldn't say they were true punk. I would not consider them true punk, only because they've always had a pretty large pop sensibility, and I think that as they went on with their career, it kind of got fleshed out even more, and now they're in that realm of like pop punk, alternative rock, yeah. And with this album, Sing the Sorrow, I think this is where they really start fleshing that kind of style out with songs like The Leaving Song Part 2, Silver and Cold, Girls Not Grey. I think the music on this is pretty catchy, but I've always preferred the punk to the accessible when it comes to AFI. This next album, Brave Words and Bloody Knuckles by Agony Column. This album is kind of like a really standard mixture between groove metal, southern metal, metalcore with basic chugging riffs. The vocals I don't think were done all that well. The lyrics are kind of cringeworthy every now and again, and to be honest, the only thing I could see this being good for is if you're going to the gym excuse me. The only thing I see this being good for is if you're going to the gym to get your blood pumping, get your adrenaline going, start doing some bench pressing, some bodybuilding. I feel like this could be the album for you. But I mean, if you're looking for something to give you some food for thought after the album is over, this would not be what I would recommend for you. This last album, I'm going to let you look at this. I don't know if you'll be able to see it all that well. It's pretty dark. But it looks black metal to me. I thought it looked black metal. Akhkaru, Celebrate Him. I went in, saw it, looked black metal, bought it, put it on, and I was dead wrong. They're kind of like a dark ambient electronic group. If you're into Depeche Mode, I could see you getting into this, or if you're into more gothic, industrial style of music, I could see you getting into this, especially with how eerie the atmosphere and the ambience is around a lot of these songs. But it wasn't for me. But, you know, you could probably like this a lot more than I did. Alright guys, if you've made it all the way through this video, or at least tried watching it, I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you stay around and check out some more of what's in here. You guys are awesome.